Go for it.
Coming up on Up for Debate, Sean and I talk about our favorite things. What's this, or where is that? How is this, and what is that? It's this or that times 4.
This is
Hello, everybody, and welcome
No,
to.
you missed the whole section. You gotta say this is Up for Debate, episode number.
All right, delete that.
No. We'll just keep rolling.
No,
it's fine.
We're gonna do it live. We're gonna do it live.
Okay, fine. Go ahead.
Coming up on Up for Debate, we are talking about our favorite things. Again, this. Let's start over again. I gotta start over. I can't. Okay.
Just talk like a normal person.
All right. Cut. This is the real deal. This is third time's a charm.
You got
third time's a charm here. Okay. Coming up on Up for Debate, Sean and I talk about our favorite things, and we put them up against each other in a contest we like to call This or That. That or this or that. You decide, and we decide too. It's this or that, and it's the 4th one that we've done, I think. Maybe 5th one, probably the 4th one, that we've done so far. And we hope you enjoy it. This is the 5th This or That coming up right at you on Up for Debate. Hello, everybody. I'm Matt.
No, you missed here. I'll do 115, recorded June 7th, 2018. This or that, round 5. No, but you got to do them in order. That's the problem.
Is that our brand? Is that what people have come to expect?
I mean, we can oh, hang on, Matt. You actually might get an opportunity to do it again cuz the recording crashed. So you actually are going to get one more shot at this thing.
All part of my plan.
You lucky son of a gun. What happened? That is so bizarre. All right, let me do something quick, and then we'll try it again. Okay, Matt, whenever you're ready.
Coming up on Up for Debate, Sean and I talk about our favorite this or that moments in a segment we like to call This or That. This is the 5th one, so we're going to call it This or That number 5, and it's coming at you in less than 5. Hello, everybody. This is Up for Debate. My name is Matt Mariani, and I am the This. And we have Mr. Sean Jennings, and he is the That. This or that, that or this, coming at you on Up for Debate. Today is June 7th, 2018. This is the 115th episode of Up for Debate. And how are we doing today, Mr. Sean?
Matt, you have absolutely replaced me. I am no longer necessary. In fact, I'm going to leave. I'm just going to go.
Okay.
I'm just going to go. This is you've got this.
All right. Well, thanks for joining me in this adventure, Sean. I did prepare a gift basket for you.
Oh, too sweet.
But yeah, you'll have to get that in the mail. So, yeah. How was that intro?
My goodness.
Was that everything you hoped it would be?
Matt, I'd go so far as to call it serviceable. You did a perfectly fine job. So
serviceable that's what we aim for here on Up for Debate.
Yep, I think just a little bit more practice, and you're going to be knocking it out of the park. You did sound a little bit like a little bit of a radio DJ almost, in kind of your pacing, where you were kind of talking like this a little bit. Coming up next, we've got the latest record from Kenny Loggins and Madonna on K105 The Rock.
It's hard. Let me tell you, this is no joke here. I think that introducing the show is a lot harder, and I don't think I give you enough credit, Sean.
You know, the grass isn't always greener.
It's a lot harder than it seems to be.
Yep.
You know, I think I just take it for granted. I assume you have all this like scripted out or something, and when you go off the cuff, it's not easy.
No, although I have gotten in the habit of scripting. Like, this is last week's little mini script I wrote, so it's not always easy doing it off the cuff. But, Matt, you did a great job, and I think we've got a great episode ahead of us here. As you so eloquently mentioned at the top, it's This or That, round 5, the 5th time we've done this. We do one right about once a year, one of our recurring segments. You came up with the idea for the very first one, and ever since we do, as you mentioned, either or questions. We just make them up out of nowhere, and we compare things, and we say which of these two options. It's just kind of a fun discussion forum for us. I recommend people go back into the archives on our website at upfordebate.tv or on SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/upfordebate. TV. There are all the past episodes. You can listen to the other This or That's, get caught up before you listen to this one.
Yeah, we've had some really great This or That moments in the past, and hopefully we don't repeat any. The trouble is going back into the archive and actually digging out what we have done and what we haven't done. And I'll be quite honest, I don't do that at all. So I'm hoping that one of the these topics that I've put on the list are not repeats. So.
Well, Matt, I would kind of like to start with maybe an obvious question, one I'm shocked we are now on This or That round 5 and we haven't done before.
Okay.
Which is this or that. Do you pick this or do you pick that? The question is this or that.
I'm going to say this.
Okay.
I'm going to say this. I would pick this. Okay. And it's because I think we as human beings, okay, bear with me here. We as human beings tend to always strive for some kind of untangible goal that's just out of reach. You know, they say that the grass is always greener, and we as human beings are always trying to obtain that which cannot be obtained, or that which is perpetually out of our grasp, and we're never quite satisfied with what is right in front of our eyes, or right in our very hands. So I'm going to say this because I like to think of myself as someone who is doesn't really take a whole lot to make content. Doesn't take a whole lot to make me content. So I'm pretty content with this for now. This moment, living in this moment, and sharing this moment with all of you.
This one,
Sean, and our viewers.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say this.
Yeah, man. I'm going to choose that for the exact opposite reason you said, which I think you're right. I think that the difference is the possessive. I have this, I want that. What I like about that is aspirational. That is something to strive towards. I already have this. This is what I have today. And you want to grow. You want to expand. Maybe in a capitalist sense, not so much, but in a personal sense. Being satisfied with this isn't enough. You want to strive for that. And that's what I like about that. That is the unknown. I know what this is because I'm in this. I live this. I have this. But that could be anything. That is something else. And that's what's exciting about that, the mystery and the sort of drive to that. So I would go with that.
But doesn't this become that once you have obtained that?
No, this doesn't become that. This becomes the other thing. This, that, and the other thing.
Oh, this, that, and the other thing. Right.
Yeah, can't forget about the other thing.
Well, what I'm saying is, what's wrong with this? Why can't you just be happy with this?
That's settling. You should be striving for that.
Well, why can't you find the things you love about this? I'm sure there are a lot of hidden things about this that you have yet to realize or yet to discover. Why do you have to long for that? That may be a lot worse than this. That may be a lot scarier than this. This is familiar. We know that this is real.
Matt, we sound like a married couple who doesn't want to talk about their problems, so we're like, what's wrong with this? What's wrong? Why are you trying to strive for that? Just live with this.
That's all I'm saying is
very messed up.
So I really just like that we actually had a debate moment, because that doesn't really happen very often.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's the most we've ever disagreed on anything, was on this or that.
I enjoyed that. Or this.
I liked this, but I loved that.
Sure.
And this is why the fans have dubbed our show Sean and Matt Fix America. Thank you, Colby.
Yeah. I guess, we could always settle for the other thing, but we can both agree that the other thing probably sucks.
It's for chumps. It's for
Yeah.
junk. Now, Matt, do you want to start us off with a real question in our this or that extravaganza?
I sure do, Mr. Sean, and please forgive me if this one is a repeat. Again, I definitely
probably
don't
won't remember. So
this or that, grape or raspberry jam.
neither. I'm not a big jam guy.
Cow. You've got to be kidding me.
No. What
Who
do you?
on this planet does not like jam?
No, I didn't say I didn't like it. I'm just saying I never eat it. It's not like I keep some in my house or I buy it at the store. Like, I know it exists and I'm fine with it, but like I have no need or reason for it in my life.
Of course, nobody needs it, but it's jam. It's
Now,
delicious.
I'm assuming this is seedless, right?
I happen to prefer the seeds, but it can be seedless. Most normal human beings don't like the seeds.
Now, wait,
so.
did you say jelly or jam?
I said jam, but we could talk about jelly.
I don't know
well.
I don't know all the and then
so-
preserves.
It varies between. It's very much a regional or national thing. Like in the United States, what we call jelly, I know that in the UK they refer to as jam. And here what we call jam, and I could be totally off the mark on this. What we call jam, I believe the Brits refer to as preserves.
I have the answer. Would you like it?
Okay.
Jelly, jam, and preserves. Jelly is a clear fruit spread made from cooked fruit juice and sugar and possibly pectin, which helps it gel and thicken. Jam is a thick spread made from fruit juice, chopped, crushed, or pureed fruit. So you actually have the pureed fruit in it.
Okay.
Jelly
Yeah,
is
so-
just the juice and the sugar.
So the jam would be chunkier.
Yes, it's
Right?
got the actual fruit in
'Cause
it.
it's got the actual pieces of fruit
A
in it.
little
Yeah.
bit of fruit pulp. And then preserves are a thick fruit spread made with fruit cooked with sugar, but then you have large pieces of fruit or even the whole fruit are suspended in a firm jelly or less gelled syrupy base. So basically you're just increasing the amount of actual solid fruit. Jelly has none, jam has some, preserves have a lot.
And it totally switches over in the UK, right? They have different names for that. I think that's what it is. Jelly. Okay. I was wrong before. I admit. Jelly, what we call jello or gelatin, the Brits refer to as jelly.
Yeah.
I do
Yeah.
remember that now, the little skit from The Office, the British Office, where he puts the stapler in the jelly.
Yes, and then over there, of course, they call preserves the lift, and then jam are known as chips.
Indeed.
Little British humor.
God save the Queen.
Raspberry versus grape. Yeah, I'm gonna go raspberry every time. I think I'm more of a red fruit guy. I'm more of a strawberry jam, raspberry jam. I'm gonna choose over even like an apple jam. I'm gonna choose. I think grape would probably be towards the bottom of my list. I just don't think it's got an exciting taste flavor. I think really the only time I would get excited for grape is I think it makes a good peanut butter and jelly. But I think in most other jelly-based applications, I'm probably going to shy away from grape.
Okay. I'm a little bit on the opposite end here. I like the raspberry jam just because it's now I said raspberry, but I think I really meant strawberry. So forgive me for that.
Well,
Strawberry.
they're both good.
Strawberry is far more common, and that's really what I was going for. That's really the contest is grape jam or so I've screwed up a little bit on that one, but I would go with the strawberry. I would go with raspberry too, just because I think that they're a little more distinct and a little bit more on the tart side, whereas grape kind of is like a deeper, richer flavor. But I like that little bite that you get from the raspberry or the strawberry spread. So
Yeah. Now, I will ask you, Matt, while we're on the topic, jellies, jams, or preserves, which of those three you prefer? I would say I lean more towards the jams or the preserves. I do like it a little thicker. I think the jelly doesn't do as much for me when it doesn't have the fruit in it.
on this we'll have to agree. Yeah, I would go with the preserves. Sure. I like the preserves probably best of the three. I like those big chunks of fruit.
Yep.
I think that they're great. And I think that the jelly is a little weak on that. It's not much content, a lot of filler.
It's just sugar. It's just sugar.
And it's just sugar. It's like our podcast. So anyway, let's I think that kind of closes the book on this or that, grape or strawberry. Let us know in the comments on our Facebook page. Please let us know which one you like better, grape or strawberry jam, for our this or that number 1. And we can go on to number 2. Take it away, Sean Jennings.
Okay, Matt. I've got quite a list here. I'm going to start you with this one. And actually, I teased it on this week's Don't Panic because I try and synergize the shows. And I asked Colby and Dan their opinion on this question, and I won't spoil it yet. But they thought the answer was obvious, which concerned me that maybe this wasn't a good question. But I'm going to ask it anyway because I want to know your thoughts. Matt, who do you think would be a better roommate, Batman or Superman?
This or that, rooming with Batman or Superman. I'm gonna say Batman. I didn't put a lot of thought into this, but because this is a really deep one and requires a lot of unpacking. But I'm gonna say Batman just because Superman. He's got that like super strength, and it kind of makes me nervous that he's gonna flush the toilet too hard, or like get. Although he seems like he's got it under control. I'm gonna do a complete 180 here, and I'm gonna go ahead and say Superman, just because my big fear with Batman is that he attracts too many villains.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Villains always seem to figure out who Batman is. I don't know why they don't just go ahead and tell everybody, but instead they try to attack him at Wayne Manor. It's happened in like all of the Batman movies, and I would definitely be afraid that he would come after me. However, that Batman is always good for the rent.
That's true.
Because he's a billionaire.
Yep.
So, however, Superman keeps a pretty good job. Yeah. He's got a job at the Daily Planet, and he makes a living wage. He seems like a responsible dude. But still, I think I'll go with Soups here because he can, if traffic's real bad and he's got the day off, he could just fly you to work. That'd be pretty cool. So, yeah. How about you?
Well, you'll be happy to know Team Don't Panic clearly voted for Batman. They think he would be much better. I like this question because I actually have I don't know what the answer is because they both have a lot of pros and cons. Like you mentioned, Batman, Bruce Wayne, rich dude, you're going to be in a nice place. Alfred's going to be there being the butler, right, which is pretty sweet. And he's got all the cool tech. But on the other hand, he is a lunatic who thinks he's a bat. You're talking about Superman
know if he thinks
snapping.
He's a bat.
Well,
I don't know if that's fair.
In some reading,
does he think he is a literal bat?
He thinks he's a Batman.
See, I'm going purely off of the Michael Keaton movies.
Michael Keaton's a lunatic in those movies.
But he doesn't think he's a literal bat. It's not at any point
he
where
hangs upside down.
I don't think he doesn't hang up.
In the movie, he hangs upside down.
Are you talking about? Like he doesn't like go to sleep like that though.
Well, he's just like hanging out upside down when the phone rings.
You don't do that in your apartment?
Yeah, I don't think I'm a bat. But imagine you walk into your shared apartment and just Michael Keaton is just hanging upside down like a lunatic. Now, on the plus side for Batman, he's probably, because he's out all night, he's probably sleeping all day. I would assume he's got to sleep at some point. So you're probably not going to see him as much as Superman, who has a more regular schedule. I also think Superman is probably a much nicer guy. But then again, he's got Lois Lane, and they're going to be hanging out, and you know how awkward it is when you're roommates, but then one of the roommates' girlfriends is always there and staying over, and,
Well, hang on now, because Batman Bruce Wayne is a billionaire playboy who would bring, like, all kinds of women back.
Yeah, but he just brings them home, they boink naughties, and then he kicks them out. So, it's not like Lois Lane is always going to be, it's every time you come home, oh, Lois, you're here again. Great.
I got the impression that they're like an on again, off again type relationship.
Well, she's always being kidnapped and stuff. I think that might.
I think,
not.
But help. I mean, I think there have been comics where she's like kind of been out of the picture or with somebody else, and it makes him jealous. Like, so I think in those off moments where they're off, you got Soups, you got the guy, the Clark Kent, as your buddy. You guys could play like Xbox or whatever. But even when they're on, like, at least it's a wholesome relationship. And you know Lois. Like you've met Lois many times.
That's
She
true.
invited you over her
If I
house
like
for
Lois,
Thanksgiving.
it's a
Yeah,
pro.
if you can get along with her, if you can get past her faults, then yeah, you're a third wheel, but it's Lois. It's not just like whatever tramp Bruce decides to
But what if he brings a
parade in
second
that
tramp
night.
home for me?
That's a good point.
We're
That's
roommates. He's got to do me a solid.
that's
He's my
that's a
wingman.
pretty
Bruce
solid-
Wayne, billionaire playboy Bruce Wayne is your wingman.
All right, that's 10 points to Bruce in his category.
I think at the end of the day, I'm going to choose Batman, and I think because you get all the perks of living with a billionaire, but I think in a giant mansion, and the fact that he's out all night, you can just avoid him enough to not deal with the like crazy parts of living with Batman. I didn't think about the villains attacking, and you are right. The Batman villains do that way more than the Superman villains. Because they pretty much all know he's Bruce Wayne, so that's a bit of a downside. But I still think I would choose. And Superman's got X-ray vision; you don't know what he's looking at. So I'm just gonna leave Superman by the side of the road. I'm gonna pick Batman.
All right. In my closing statement to advocate for Supes, I'm going to go ahead and say that Superman definitely does a better job of protecting those closer to him than Batman does. I think
Batman let his parents get killed.
he let his parents get killed when he was a little boy. I think he let Alfred die one time in the comics or something like that happen. His love interests have died many times. Robin has died like 3 times now. Also, the DC comics are a lot. I guess no, that doesn't really. They're both DC, so forget that. But Superman, yeah, I think you know what he's going to get. Somehow, inexplicably, no one has figured out that Superman is Clark Kent, even though his disguise sucks. It's just him putting on glasses.
Yeah, but I think part of it too is like everyone knows who Bruce Wayne is, but nobody knows who Clark Kent is, so it's not as big. Like, who's going to figure it out? The people he works with. Like, I don't think it's that big of a. If people find out it's Bruce Wayne, it's like that's like us being like, oh my God, Bill Gates is Batman. That's crazy. He's famous. But that's like if like you turned out to be Batman, how many people would really make a big deal out of that?
That's true. Yeah, Clark Kent is kind of a nobody.
Which is what's
Bruce
great
Wayne
about
is
it.
like, he's a lot like it would be like if we found out that Elon Musk was Batman.
God, that'd be so sad. Oh, that would be so sad. He's so lame. Oh, that sucks. Oh, that
Yeah.
sucks. Anyway, Matt, this or that.
Yeah. So this
Continuing on, what do you got?
this next one for this or that, I'm gonna do just because it flows with that theme. Day or night.
Huh, interesting. Day or night in just the very abstract sense.
Yep.
I
Open-ended.
don't. Then sometimes these questions get so abstract that you don't know where to start. And I guess you could start anywhere.
You want me to start us off on this one?
No, I think I'm getting a handle on it as the wheels in my brain turn. Matt, I'm gonna go with day, and just for the simple reason that the world needs day, or we would all die. We need sunlight to feed the plants, which feed the food chain. And if there were no day and only night, we would all perish. So that's why I'm going to choose day.
But is the inverse also not true? If it were only day, we would all perish. If there were no night, we would perish.
I don't actually know if is that true.
That's got to be true.
Why?
Well, because how would we know when it's time to go to sleep? We know naturally that our bodies go to sleep when it's dark outside.
I think it's
because the light has gone.
Yeah, maybe the greenhouse effect or something screws up when it's day all the time.
If there was never any night and it was day all the time, you go nuts. It's like that movie with Al Pacino, where he lives up in the northern part of Alaska and he doesn't get enough sleep.
Scarface?
I definitely don't remember that. No, he played like a detective. He was investigating a murder, but he ended up going like nuts by the end of the movie because he didn't sleep enough. I forget the name of it.
Well,
but
okay. I'm gonna take another crack at this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna choose day because if it were night all the time, going to the beach would suck.
Not really. Have you ever been on the beach at night?
Yeah, but the water's cold and it's
cool.
not safe because you can't see the sharks and the other things in the water.
Oh, you don't go in the water. No, that's scary as
Yeah,
shit.
that's
I would
what-
never go in the water at night
Yeah.
in the ocean.
Yeah,
But
everyone's the ocean.
you build like a little campfire, and you get one guy has an acoustic guitar. Everybody else is drinking their Coors Light and their Coronas with lime,
Yeah,
having a good time. It's like on all the commercials.
yeah, but you wouldn't do that at night.
Everybody's got their North Face on, and they're wearing their Nike sandals, and
This
just
is
having a great time.
this is not branded content. Matt, which would you choose, day or night?
I would go with night. I think that night is really cool. Night is when all the really cool adventures happen. It's when all the dangerous stuff happens too. But that's the spice of life, right? The spice of life. Brought to you by Taco Bell.
I would say, Matt, that between us as hosts, I think you are the night host and I'm the day host.
What makes you say that?
Because I'm like the bright and the cheery and the energetic, and you're the dark and mysterious and brooding, and so you're like the gritty reboot half of this show. And I think night suits you.
Especially when I don't shave. So
there was that famous Baywatch, famously, the show Baywatch, definitely a day show, but they had their famous spin-off Baywatch Nights, where David Hasselhoff and the team went and solved supernatural crimes that happened near the beach. And it was not very good, but I feel like I'm the Baywatch and you're the Baywatch Nights.
I think you're the Baywatch and I'm the Night Court.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Yeah, so I'll go with nights. I think that nights are really cool. Like you said, they're mysterious and they're enchanting.
Yeah,
enchantment's a good
and
word.
Dangerous, very dangerous.
Just like me. So
yep.
All right. So let us know in the comments what you think about day or night. You look like you were about to say something.
Well, no, I was, but I'll also say, hey, folks out there, tweet at us. Use the hashtag. Matt, what's a good hashtag if they like the day?
Hashtag this or that. Oh, for if they like one or the
they
other?
vote with the hashtag.
Hashtag Dayman.
Okay.
And hashtag Nightman.
Oh, love it. That's perfect. Use the hashtags and let us know what you think. Matt, I actually, purely coincidence, because it is on my list, but I have a similar type question to the one you just asked. Which is the better thing in the sky, the moon or the sun?
The sun. The sun is better.
Why?
Way better. Because it keeps us that I can literally say that keeps us alive. Like, if there were no sun, we would all die. So I'm gonna go with the sun on this one. Also, it's believed in or at least it was a practice. I could pull out my little history knowledge here, and I'm sure many of you have heard the term lunatic comes from Luna,
that makes
the moon, sense. Because in many ancient cultures, it was believed, particularly the Celts, believed that if you looked into the moon for long enough, you would go mad. And they also believed that the moon was responsible for all kinds of crazy events and catastrophes, like rising tides and storms. They also believed that, and you can kind of see this, that the full moon kind of brings out the crazy in people. And this is very true. It just observe, it's especially true if you work with teenagers, and any kind of young children, really, the full moon brings out the crazy for sure. And you can really kind of almost pinpoint it. People do act differently around the time of a full moon. A little bit more irrational, a little bit more unpredictable, and a little bit more disturbed. It's very true, and science can't really explain it, but the full moon does definitely affect people's behavior.
Matt, all I can imagine now is, I heard most of what you said, but all I can imagine is a CW-esque television show starring you as a teacher in a high school full of werewolves.
Yes.
And you're the sort of comic relief who, you know what it is? You're new to the school, and everyone there knows they're all werewolves. And you're like, wait, what? Everyone here's a werewolf.
They didn't tell me that in the interview.
Yes, exactly. And you kind of have to deal with it, and you learn, and then you partner up with like another teacher who's there, like your sexy love interest, who's also a werewolf, because they're all werewolves.
Even the teachers are werewolves?
Yeah, it's a werewolf school, Matt.
It's a school. Is it a school for werewolves? Or is it just that everybody?
I think it's a coincidence. I think it's
Okay.
just the town of Wolf Lake, obviously.
Town of Wolf Lake. Yeah, this would be this would be one of
love
those CBS shows that gets canceled after one season.
Yep, and you're like, how'd they ever make that into a show?
Yeah, or like, how did that even get greenlit in the first place?
The other, very small off topic, and then we'll get back on it, but I was flipping around Hulu the other day, and they recommended a show to me that I could not believe actually existed. And the plot of the show is that the devil, the actual devil, have you heard about this? The actual devil decides to take a vacation from hell, go to Los Angeles, and he partners up with a detective, and they solve crimes.
Yes, I really wanted to watch that. How was it? Did you watch it?
I
hope
did.
You watched it.
I actually did, because I couldn't believe it. And it is so ridiculous that it's intriguing and charming. Like, it's actually not that bad.
That's the thing, is I thought that the premise was so it was so twee that it worked. It's like, yeah, if the devil took a vacation, LA is exactly where he would go. Like, where else in the world would he go but LA?
The City of Angels.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect in every sense of the word. So I haven't gotten to see, what's the show called?
It's called Lucifer.
Lucifer, okay.
Yeah, and he just goes around telling everybody that he's the devil, and they don't believe him, and then he does devil things, and they still don't believe him, and he helps them solve crimes. It's so bizarre, but it's worth checking out.
All right.
Anyway, Moon or Sun was a quick one. So do you want... Oh, I forgot to give my opinion. I'm choosing the Moon, mainly for two reasons. One, man actually walked on it, so that you can't go to the sun. And the other thing is that the sun will eventually expand and envelop the Earth, and the moon will just always hang out and be there. It's not going to kill us. So we can't live without the sun, but the sun will also kill us. So I'm going to just choose the more neutral thing and choose the moon. Now, Matt, go. Do you have another this or that for us?
Just a side thing before I go there. You ever play the game Majora's Mask: Legends of Zelda?
Somehow I missed that one.
Okay, because in that game, the one of the key ideas that's central to the plot is that the moon is about to crash into the Earth. You have like 3 days to stop it from happening or something.
Oh, that sounds exciting.
Yeah. So in that game, the moon is your adversary. Anyway, we're gonna switch gears a little bit here. I've got a lot here, but I'm gonna narrow it down to my favorites. Spanish or French?
Oh boy, we're getting into some touchy territory here. I don't want to offend any cultures.
Oh, we're talking strictly the language.
Oh boy,
one? You're Sean Jennings. You are in freshman year of high school. You have to pick one of these languages. It's mandatory that you have to choose Spanish or French. They don't offer any other language. The school sucks. You got to pick one or the other.
I choose Latin. No, I would say I'm gonna choose Spanish just because it's more practical living in America. I think I can actually think of like 4 languages I'd want to learn before French. Like, that's such an uninteresting choice to me. Because like, who gives a shit?
I'll tell you who gives a shit.
The French people, and they're pissed off.
Every continent on planet Earth, you will find a national language that you will find one of 2 national languages spoken on every continent. Those languages are English,
which I already know,
and French,
which I'm not going to learn.
Those are the 2. So
but I already know English, so what do I need French for?
What I'm saying is that it's important. It's French is important because besides English, on every single continent, the other language that is spoken is French. In as a national language, you'll find at least one country that will have either English or French or both as national languages. But that's not even the reason I would choose French. Historically, French, for basically the entire Middle Age, throughout the late Middle Ages, all the way up until the industrial age and the modern era, French was quite literally the lingua franca. Lingua franca. The lingua franca actually means the Frankish language or the French language. The term we understand today to mean the language that is spoken commonly by everyone, or at least understood by everyone. It's the language of business, the language of commerce, and historically that has been French. It's only recently Spanish has only recently kind of risen to prominence, and that's really just in the United States. That's a Americo-centric phenomenon, as we would say, but internationally and worldwide, French is still the language you want to learn if you want to go travel abroad.
Do you know where French is ranked in terms of the language with the most number of native speakers?
Of native speakers.
Yep.
That's like people that are born speaking it. It's ranked pretty. Tell us where it's ranked.
It's ranked 18th.
Okay. Do you know why that is?
Yeah, because no one lives in France.
No, it's because most people that live in countries that speak French also speak another language. Like for example, Morocco, a language that has many francophone speakers, but their probably native language, I would assume, would be Arabic, Moroccan Arabic, that they learn at birth, but they are also brought up learning French. They're educated in French. Same thing would go for Egypt. Same thing would go for Lebanon.
Well,
Lebanon's probably a great example, probably one of the best examples you can come up with. And that's what I mean when I say every single continent has French and English, but also French as a major language.
Do you know where it ranks in terms of most spoken?
What do you mean by most spoken?
I just found a random chart online. I don't know how they quantify that, but it specifically says spoken and not native speakers.
How does that? So that means like learned or
well, it says where most commonly spoken. It says France, Canada, West Africa, Central Africa.
Yeah, those are big places.
Yeah, so where do you think it ranks?
I don't know. You tell me.
9th.
You tell me. 9th is pretty good. That's pretty high. Pretty high up there. There's like, how many languages are there on this planet? Like 3,000?
Well, okay, but then choose one of the ones spoken by next to nobody. No, but Matt, Spanish is 3rd.
Oh, sure.
Spanish has more than twice as many people speak it.
I don't doubt that Spanish has a lot of language speakers. That's not what I'm saying. The speakers of Spanish, however, are pretty much, you've really got, other than Spain, you've got the Western Hemisphere. And that's really it.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that the option wasn't, French or Turkish. Then I would choose French. But you put it up against Spanish, and that's a formidable language, Matt. You have to remember, I live in the Western Hemisphere. Okay? I won't get more specific because I don't want people to know where I live. But I live in the Western Hemisphere. You can guess. And that is not where French is spoken, except in Canada. So, Matt, I appreciate your argument. It sounds to me like you're choosing French, but I don't think any amount of convincing is going to make me change my mind. That I'm going to go for, first of all, I don't want to learn another language, but if you're going to force me to, I'm going to go with Spanish. But I will tell you, before I would Mandarin, Arabic, Dutch, because I just think it's interesting. They have so many letters. So many other great languages. French
is a pretty language. I'm not saying that Spanish is not pretty, but
you don't learn a language because it's pretty.
The phonetics of French. It's just something. It's so unique. It's so unique. It
sounds hard to learn.
It is so unlike any language out there.
Yeah, that sounds difficult to learn. I'm gonna.
So you've got the phonetics. You've got the historical connection. You've got the ability to travel abroad.
Yeah, but Matt, that's all true of Spanish though, because they spoke Spanish back in the old days, back when the
Not
hombres
really.
would go to the rodeo.
You'd be surprised. The old days that you're talking about are the not so old days. The old days you're talking about, the days of the rodeo and the hombres. That's like 100 years ago.
Well, no, Matt, those are the only two Spanish words I know. So, that's
rancheros.
yes, patio. My 3 years of Spanish really paid off.
Gracias.
Yeah, I don't know what that means, but it sounds very nice. So, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Tweet at us Spanish or French with the hashtag Yo no soy.
Yeah, except, do it in English so we can read it. That is my tip.
Sean Jennings, what do you got for us? What's the next this or
Matt,
that?
we like food on the show. We talk about food a lot. We've talked about food tonight. But I have a food question for you, and this applies to all foods. Are foods better grilled or fried?
Wow. Better and better for you are very different things.
Sure.
If I had the choice between the two, I got to go with grilled. I think that they taste a little bit fresher when they're grilled. Contrary to what you may believe, Sean, I'm not a big fried food guy. I don't really care for fried foods. I eat a lot of fried foods, probably much more than I should, just because they're so readily available.
Sure.
Grilled foods, on the other hand, though, are just they just taste. There's a different taste to them, and they taste more natural. I think there's more things you can also do with grilled foods, marinades, and there's more things you can do.
Absolutely,
you could totally do more things with grilled food than fried foods. Yes, you can marinate them, you can smoke them, you could grill. You can grill them in different oils and I don't know. I think grilled vegetables. When you fry things, Sean, I think that everything kind of starts tasting the same. Have you ever had a poo-poo platter?
No.
Chinese restaurant?
I can't say I have. I don't really.
That's basically it's like everything is fried. They fry the tempura is another example where they just they give you like a big plate and everything's fried. I think that it starts making everything taste the same. Not a big fan.
Yeah, no, that's so completely wrong. You're not even close. The problem with grilling is only good for a handful of things, whereas you can fry anything. And yes, they do taste similar, but that's a good fried taste.
Yes, you could fry everything, Sean, but should you fry everything?
Okay.
No.
Matt, let's say you go to a fancy French restaurant. You speak the language. You go to a fancy French restaurant for a 9-course chef meal. Okay? But at the beginning, they come to you and you say, "Sir, tonight we're doing a special. You can have your entire meal end to end grilled or fried. Which are you going to do?"
I'm going to grill. I'm going to definitely grill it.
No, you can't.
Yes.
Because, Matt, what about the slice of pie at the end of the meal? You can't grill that. You fry it. What about your Caesar salad?
Oh.
You can't grill a Caesar salad. You fry it. You can fry anything.
The calories. No.
I'm not saying you should do it all the time.
My ears are getting diabetes. Just
and I
listen
love grilling.
This.
But I'm just saying, if we're talking about all foods in general, which is better, you got to fry the shit, man. Dump it in the fryer.
Which one will easily cut 10 years off your life? The frying
and will taste 10 times better? Frying.
Oh, God.
Because you can fry anything, Matt. If this were just steaks, better grilled or fried?
Yeah, I could fry my shoe, but should I eat that fried shoe? No,
well, it would be so good. You could eat the breading off of it. But they fry Twinkies. They fry liquids now. I don't even know how they do that.
What an abomination! What a world we live in.
Yeah, man. Celery. You can fry celery. You can't grill celery.
You could totally grill celery. Anyway.
Stop that.
Should we go to our next one?
Please, Matt. What do you have?
Would you rather be too warm or too cold?
Too cold. I'd rather be too cold. And I think my initial thought is I'm going to do the cheesy. Well, you can always add more layers if you're cold, but you can't if you're hot. I think that's an obvious answer, so I'm not going to go there. But I think I would choose cold because I think do you know that shivering raises your body temperature 3 degrees an hour? It's an amazing function of the human body, and it's one of my favorite fun facts. And so I think the body is more equipped. We all have fat on our bodies that is designed to be burnt to create calories for warmth. I think just the human body is more able to adapt. And frankly, from what I've read, not that I've experienced it, but hypothermia is a more preferable death than sort of, I guess, a combination of dehydration and heat exhaustion.
Yeah, that sounds pretty brutal.
And your body just dries out. So I'm going to choose too cold.
Yeah, I think this is a slam dunk for me too. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to agree on this one. I can't, and I really do want to play devil's advocate for the sake of the show, but I can't side with the too warm people. Like if you're a too warm person and you want to come on this show and you want to defend your position, you're welcome to do so. But I can't get on the too warm boat. It's like I don't like being warm. I much prefer being cold. You can ask anybody I've ever lived with ever. I like to keep that thermostat down when I go to sleep. I think sleeping is the worst when your air conditioner's broken or your central air isn't working and you have to suffer through a hot summer night. There's that's pretty bad. So I got to go with too cold. Yeah.
Agreed.
Definitely rather freeze. So.
Agreed. Now, Matt, I've got a question for you.
Okay.
Tattoos or piercings?
I would go with piercings.
Okay.
I'll be completely honest with you. I don't think I've really shared this with many people. Tattoos kind of freak me out a little bit.
Okay.
I said it.
It's a safe space. You can be honest.
I'm not 100% comfortable with the idea of putting something permanent on your body that is ink, that is like on your skin. Just I don't like it. Now, everybody's, of course, do your own thing, do what you want. I'm not here to judge, but I don't like tattoos. I just don't like them. So I go with piercings.
If you got a piercing, what piercing would you get?
I would get an earring.
Okay, just one.
Get a pirate earring. Just one pirate. Yep.
Nice. It's a good look.
Yeah,
Johnny Depp.
Awesome. Yep.
This is a tough one. I think I agree with you, Matt. For me personally, I would go with piercings over tattoos. Just because I don't think I could decide what I would. The problem with tattoos is they have to a piercing's just a piercing, but a tattoo has to mean something or be artistic or there's just too many choices. I wouldn't even know what to do for a tattoo. So I think piercings is just I'm a pretty straightforward guy. I think piercings are a little more straightforward. But I would say if someone came to me and said, "Hey Sean, what should I get? What would I recommend someone else get?" I actually would probably lean towards tattoos, and I think it's for the opposite reason, which is I think the art of tattoos and the history and the style of tattoos, I think, is really interesting. I think people, I'm not necessarily a fan of look, the Chinese characters, they say respect, and I get into, don't do the cheesy, and I'm going to be very careful what I say here because I have friends with tattoos, and I don't want to make fun of their tattoos. But I just think cheesy tattoos aren't cool, but actual, artistic, thought out, really meaningful, interesting tattoos, I think as an art form is actually really interesting to look at and study and understand. And I just don't, piercings, you just don't have as much, there are only so many places on your body you can pierce, there's only so much flexibility with what you can do in piercings. I think as an art form, tattoos have more merit, and I think they're neat in that respect. So for myself, no, but I think in general, yeah, I think tattoos are a little more neat than piercings.
Yeah, I'm glad that you didn't name the specific locations that piercings can occur, because this is a kids show.
Well, you can get tattoos in a lot of places too. So
also very true. Um, this next one is how much time do we have? By the way, how are we doing on time?
We can do as
Can we
much
fit?
time as you want.
You think we could fit in two more
Yeah,
from both of
absolutely.
us? You think,
Yeah.
or is that asking a little too
Well,
much?
let's start with one, and we'll see if we can get to two.
All right, I'll go with my fave of the two then.
Okay.
Sean, this or that arcade or bowling alley?
I don't really go to either. I think
But which one do you like the idea of more?
my knee-jerk reaction is arcade. And the reason is most of the time when I go to those types of places, I want to drink because it's a social setting and it's fun. And you don't want to be drinking and throwing heavy bowling balls. There's too much hand-eye coordination. The thing with arcades they're a little, I just think a little more fun and a little more interactive. I think because bowling is a little bit more of a sport and you're competing against somebody, which you don't do you do a little bit, but not as much of in an arcade. I think that it can be less fun bowling because I think people get nervous that they're not going to do well or they're bothered by their low score. And I do think it's just too physically involved to be a casual activity. I feel the same way about. I don't think golf is a fun hobby either, because I just think it's just too involved. It's not fun. It's not a fun thing to do. Going to an arcade is fun because you're just hanging around.
I think that you have a point. You definitely have a point with the drinking aspect on there, but I'll say bowling alleys. Just because I think arcades are kind of the idea of an arcade is great, and if you had a card with unlimited money on it, arcades would be the best.
Sure.
Unfortunately, that's not the way it works, and I would be afraid that I would spend way too much money in the arcade.
Sure.
The bowling alley, I want to say, is the cheaper option, even though bowling alleys are pretty expensive and also kind of a ripoff. That's why I put these two up against each other. But the bowling alley, I think, it's a more intimate setting. It's you can kind of talk with your teammates and with your opponents and the group that you're with. You kind of have a more intimate time. You have a better time. You can order some wings. You can get a big pitcher of beer. You could do that at an arcade, but it's just the noise. There's so many noises coming from left and right, and by the time you're done, you have a massive headache because of all the noise and the blaring sounds. Also, bowling alleys, you could do that light up, where the things light up in the dark, like the glow in the dark bowling.
Sure,
that's pretty sick. I love that. So, I go with bowling alley here.
Yeah, I think those are all extremely valid points. I think it's, assuming we're rating these as a social activity, I think it just depends on who you're with.
Sure.
If you're a little more kind of a not high octane, but you're a little bit more of an excitable crowd, a little bit more of a, want to run around doing stuff. I think an arcade's probably more your speed, but I think you're right. I think bowling can be a little more, unless you're hyper competitive, it can be a bit of a more low energy casual environment, which is great.
Yeah. Nobody likes that guy that takes bowling seriously. Don't be that guy. So
I agree. Now, Matt, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Hypothetical situation. You have a time machine. Congratulations. Do you go to the past or to the future?
Oh my God. You know me, Sean.
Yeah, you know what? Now that I read it.
You probably knew exactly like when you made this question. I would go to the past. I genuinely
did not.
I would absolutely go to the past. Now tell me, Sean, why you would go to the future.
I didn't say I would go to the future.
We both know you're gonna go to the future. Everybody that watches the show knows that you're gonna go to the future.
Fine, I'm gonna go to the future. And you know why, Matt? Because we already know what happened in the past, for the most part. Don't give me, and I don't want to hear that history teacher argument of, well, only some people write the history, and really it could be different, and we don't actually bullshit. I want to go to the future because I want to know what to look forward to or to not look forward to. So I'm definitely, past is the past. You can't. And also, Matt, you don't want to change the past. That's the big. You don't want this butterfly effect.
Yeah, you didn't say. Do we have like free reign in the past where we can like alter the course of history? Like.
Oh yeah.
Okay, that's pretty terrifying.
Yeah.
But I would still go to the past, but I would just try to be as conscious of that as possible. But I know that at some point I would screw something up and everything would be different. But um, I'll tell you why we don't go to the future, Sean. It's because the future is scary. The future is terrifying. The
Why?
future is disappointing. When people made predictions about what the future would look like, okay, in the new millennium, in the early 1900s, when they were predicting or in the 1920s, they were predicting what the world would look like in the year 2000. Do you know what they predicted?
I actually do because I think we read the same article.
They thought there would be flying transport
Zeppelins,
things,
man.
like
Zeppelins were the
flying.
future.
They well
Dirigibles.
they thought that everybody would have their own personal like flying car, basically.
Yep. Home of the
They
future, all
thought
that
that
stuff.
everybody'd have jetpacks. There would be a cure for all diseases. There would be a brotherhood of mankind where everybody worked together and towards a common goal. Sean, did any of that happen in the year 2000?
Yeah, but hang on, Matt, because now
No.
now all of
None
our
of that happened.
now
Our future turned out to be massively disappointing. And that's what would happen if you traveled into the future. You would be massively disappointed.
I don't think
At
so.
best, things would be much like they are today, but with more advanced technology and people have better smartphones, whatever. At worst, everybody would be in a Mad Max style war over water or vital natural resources.
But that's
that
the
are
fun.
limited.
That's the fun of it. You don't know
Holy
what it's going to be.
crap.
There's so much
It
mystery.
would be a nightmare. And if you went further enough into the future, none of us would exist because we would probably have met a fiery death from either the sun exploding or extraterrestrial armies
Well, no, not
wiping us
that
out,
far in the
whatever,
future.
whatever we've got.
No, I'm not. Oh my goodness, Matt. No, come on,
Whatever
that's
you've
crazy.
got on the docket. I would
Well-
much rather go to the past. I would
First of
much
all-
rather go to the past. It would be way more interesting.
Absolutely not. First of
People
all,
actually they fought bloody wars and skirmishes, but you had
disease,
just a
and
real simpler way of
famine,
living.
and
Just
and
a real simpler
no
way of living.
showers.
With everybody working on the fields as the peasants and
That,
community, a sense of community.
how does that suck less than a potential
That sounds
future?
great. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody's getting along
Because their
with your
lives are
little peasant
sad and
village.
meaningless.
They don't know that though. They
But
don't
you
know
do.
that. They think that their lives mean everything. They think their lives are very meaningful.
I don't think that's true. Now, Matt, first of all, you got to go to the future because you got to get the sports almanac and bring it back and get rich. But what I'm saying, Matt, would it change your opinion if I told you you have a time machine, you can go to the past or the future, but you have to stay there forever? Does that change your opinion?
No, I would still go to the
No,
past. I would
no.
definitely still go to the past.
No,
I
absolutely
would
not.
not want to live in. Would you want to go into the future forever? Think about it. Everybody you know and love will be dead.
But
because you'll
everybody
be
in the past
future.
hasn't been born yet. It's the same thing.
Yeah, but you can meet their ancestors. Isn't that cool?
Oh my god, this isn't a movie, Matt. Jesus Christ. No, the problem with in the past, everything sucked. There was no electricity. There was everyone was dying at 35. Like, you wouldn't even live that long.
That's
You would
that's
literally
largely
not know how to live.
exaggerated. Do you know why they predicted the life expectancy was 35? It was because of the Black Death. It was because of the bubonic plague wiped out 2/3 of Europe's population.
No, you could have been
So-
part of that.
So also you have to also remember that infant mortality was extremely high back then. So people died when they were born, like when they were less than 1 year old, at a way more frequent rate. Also, maternity was pretty scary, and women died like something like 2 out of every 5 women died in childbirth. But if you managed to be born, you actually had a pretty decent chance of making it into like your mid 60s. It wasn't unheard of. All right, you wouldn't.
No.
It wasn't like everybody dropped dead at 35. That wouldn't
No, and
make
of
any
course-
sense.
And of course, you know
how would you have any old people?
I just assumed they didn't have old people. Matt,
Everybody's young all the time.
you would know because you'd be the insane person who like washes his hands and doesn't throw his feces out of his apartment window. Yeah, Matt. No, this is absolutely not. Matt, you're great. You're a good guy. You're very smart. Excellent at history. I don't think you could survive at all in the olden times.
No, I think of that you're probably right. I don't think I could survive in the olden times. However, I don't think that you could survive in the future times as comfortably as you think you would. I think your
But you
future
don't
world
know.
is an idealist future
But
world.
that's the fun of it. You don't. Maybe you're right, Matt. Maybe you're right. Maybe I show up and it is a Mad Max style wasteland, and I'm fucked. Okay. Maybe you're right. But on the other hand,
Everybody's dressed up in these like crazy steampunk caveman outfits.
yeah, they grunt and growl because language has been lost. I don't know. Or I go there and
driving
everyone has.
cars through the desert to try to get gallons of water.
But Matt, maybe they have flying cars and jetpacks, and they've cured all disease, and there is peace in the world. You don't know. That's the fun of it. I know the past sucks, but I don't know if the future does.
I don't think the past sucks quite as much as you believe it does. I think the past was actually pretty great, and I think we forgot some of that greatness.
Spoken like a true history teacher. All right, Matt, you got
make the modern era great again.
oh
so.
Lord, God help us, Matt. You got one more for us?
I do have one more. I have several here, but I'm gonna choose the most exciting. This is a tough one. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna do something unheard of here. Unprecedented before in the history of this or that. I have two, Sean, this or that's, and I want you to pick the one that you would feel better about answering. Which one you think would be better for the show to answer?
Oh, that's like a meta this or that.
It's
a this or that in a this or that.
It's a this or that, or a this or that.
Wow.
This or that or this. The first one is spiders or scorpions.
Okay.
The other one is khakis or corduroy.
Oh. I'm gonna be honest, Matt. I don't really have a strong opinion one way or the other.
Okay, or option number 3. High socks or low socks.
Okay, all right, you can really tell we've gone an hour here. The only one I have left on my list is Han Solo or Luke Skywalker.
Wow, that's way better. That's way better than any of those.
I mean, Matt, here we go. We can lightning round yours, which would be spiders, I think, because they're more common. I would say corduroys because they're not as common. And I would say, what was the high socks or low socks? It depends on what you're wearing. If you're wearing long pants, you do the high socks. If you're wearing shorts, you got to do the low socks.
Okay, you took the easy way out. That's what I was going to say too.
Yeah.
Pretty much verbatim.
Yeah.
Although scorpions are way more terrifying than spiders.
I don't know because you never see a scorpion. When are you going to run into a scorpion?
But
there's spiders everywhere.
If you're in the desert, Sean, you're going to find scorpions.
Well, but if I'm in the desert,
scorpions, God help you.
Yeah.
So
they suck. They don't scare me. Come at me, scorpions. You don't scare me. Now, Matt, you haven't seen Solo, have you?
I have not. I'm going to see it on Saturday.
Well, good. So this is a Solo-free discussion. But Matt, what do you think? Han Solo or Luke Skywalker? It's a tough one. They both have their pros and cons.
It's really not, though. I would go Solo because as a character, he's more interesting. He's a devil-may-care rogue. Kind of, does his own thing, lives by his own code. That's pretty cool. He's a lot more mysterious. Luke is, he's got the arc. He's got the young Jedi, young learner story arc. Student surpassing the master, whatever, how that plays out. I don't know. I think Han is just more interesting. I would rather watch one like Han Solo trilogy than watch a trilogy where it's just Luke doing Jedi stuff. Because I just feel like I know the way that the Luke Jedi stuff. I know how he's going to get out of situations, right? He's going to use the Force to get out of situations. Han has to really rely on his own devices. He's got to rely on his intellect, his charm to kind of get out of situations, whereas Luke can just force the shit out of whatever he's doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why I got to go with Han. just because I think that the stories that involve him would be more interesting
But I don't know if I agree with that.
or
I think,
unpredictable.
but I just think Han Solo is such a one-note character. Like you can sum him up in a sentence who he is. I think Luke, especially over the course of the films, actually changes and like. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to Tashi Station to pick up some power converter. Like, that's bad Luke. Don't want that Luke. But you actually see him grow and change as a character through the original trilogy and then obviously into these newer films and in Last Jedi. So I think he's more of an interesting character. I think on one hand, you're right. He can use the Force in a lot of situations, but he's also going up against, I think, more badass villains. Han Solo's just going up against some... Jabba the Hutt, he's a big slug. What's he gonna do? The scoundrels in the cantina, whatever. They're just a bunch of losers in Halloween masks. So I just think that Han is just full of catchphrases. I just think he's like that kind of guy, and I think Luke is more complex, and that's kind of why I would lean in that direction. But I agree, Han Solo, way cooler.
Yeah. Well, let us know in the comments for Han Solo or Luke Skywalker, this or that.
There you go. Yeah, let us know your feedback on all of our this or that's. This being our 5th one, a lot of fun, Matt. I think we'll be back next year to do another one, I'm sure. One of our recurring segments. Hopefully, I don't think we repeated any today, but if we did, let us know. Hope you enjoy as much as we did. Of course, you can get all of our episodes, including the past this or that's. Get caught up at upfordebate.tv. All the past episodes are there. Also, a link to subscribe. You click the subscribe button. It tells you everywhere you can get the show, including the video version on YouTube and the audio version on SoundCloud, iTunes Podcasts, or Apple Podcasts now, Overcast, anywhere you get your podcasts, that will be there. And, of course, as Matt mentioned, you can follow us on Twitter at UpForDebateTV, and you can email us, upfordebatetv@gmail.com. I will take this opportunity to plug Don't Panic, which we've mentioned previously on the show, but that's myself, Colby, and Dan talk tech news weekly. It is a lot of fun. On this past week's episode, we talked all about WWDC and all the new things coming to iPhones and Macs and all the new features, and I tried to auction off some of Colby's belongings without his permission. So it was a fun episode. You can check that out at don'tpanic.io. We will be back next time with another great topic here on Up for Debate, but until then, on behalf of Matt, I'm Sean. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time for more debate here on Up for Debate.